Excellent. We're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the TD Report. It's been a long time coming. I hope you guys have had a great summer. You guys are watching the Olympics, but I'm here hosting again with Tony Kennedy down below. And over that way is Cody Bennett, showrunner, the man behind our production. And I just want to make sure you give Cody a shout out. Hey, man. Thanks for getting us on today. And, you know, as usual, the pod looks great. We've come a long way, buddy.
Big time. Came a long way.
You remember
way.
Days guys, I'm telling you, if you want to go back and look at some of our early shows 3 years ago, it didn't look like this. A shout out to our original show guy, rest in peace, Fitz. That was like our original show guy. He was there when we first started out, but now we've got Cody helping us out. And again, rest in peace to Fitz. Tony, how you feeling, buddy?
Viva la France.
Viva la France.
Mentioned Fitz.
Let's get into it.
I told you guys
Here
a month ago. I said the championship game was going to be France and the United States, and I picked France.
Okay.
I picked France because the style of ball and because they home, and they're playing for something bigger than any of these Americans can ever think about. Mm-hmm. They're playing for country, and everybody in their country is on their side. See, they ain't got a whole bunch of people going and, I don't like him because he play on this team. I don't like him because he play on that team. Everybody in their country. 1. 2, you ever heard of home cooking? Y'all don't know what home cooking is till you get to international play. The last time this ever happened was July of 1998. The greatest soccer team in the history, Brazil, came and played France in the World Cup for the World Cup final on Bastille Day. And Brazil had everything. France was terrible. France beat them. They beat the best team in the world at home in a big international game. I'm calling it right now. You better go gamble. You better go take it. Because the referees aren't going to call everything, and they're going to come after, and they're going to play loose. Remember, the United States ones who going to play tight.
I still can't believe USA won that game.
Hey,
I can't believe USA won that game.
Yeah, and before I get into that, great stuff, Tony. Cody, do we have a line on this USA-France championship game?
Oh, you got to pull it up.
Yeah, let's see.
Because I had a couple of comments to make, and I totally agree with what Tony said. Here's what I'm going to say about France. Playing against France at home in Paris is the worst possible thing that could have ever happened in the United States in this tournament. They did not want to see this. They wanted Canada to beat France and play them, or even Germany to make it to this level to play them. Germany has beaten the United States before. They beat them in the World.
All I have is the odds of who to win. I don't have who's going to be playing.
What are the odds?
They didn't pull up that point spread because
they have it. They have it at USA and Germany technically, because USA is the favorite, then Germany, then France, then Serbia.
Okay, so France was a good. Yeah, France was a good.
Yeah, minus 800 for USA, plus 700 for Germany.
Okay, so this is going to, and I'll go back to the international piece that Tony mentioned, and Luka Doncic talked about it in terms of playing pro ball overseas. And he put up some clips of what the crowds looked and sounded like at like a European championship as far as professional. And we don't have anything like that in the NBA. It's nothing like it. The only thing would be close. I'll say this: Pistons Bulls Eastern Conference Finals. Pistons Celtics at the old Boston Garden. That's the only thing that can kind of Lakers Celtics at the Lakers Celtics. It would have to be something big. I mean, big, or one of those games, one of those Jordan games at the old Chicago Stadium, like a finals. Like, what was that, Tony? Was that Game 6 that the Bulls won in Chicago? Bulls Game 6 over the Lakers. That would have been 91, right?
Yeah, 91. They won out there. Game 5.
They won out. Okay.
Yeah, Game 6 in Portland against Portland at
Okay,
home.
Portland. Yeah.
Mhm.
But there was a game in Chicago Stadium that I vividly remember, in my early 20s. And I was saying to myself, man, that crowd is crazy. I mean, Chicago. Now, Chicago is a football town, but when Michael Jordan was there, they're a basketball town. That's the thing that makes it so hard for today's players, not just to understand, but
Mhm.
to replicate, because it can't be replicated. You cannot make another Michael Jordan. You cannot make another Magic Johnson. You can't make another Bird. And that's what makes it so hard. The United States, Team USA, whoever they put on it, is always going to be compared to that original Dream Team. And there's no way
Always.
around it, always. And from a sports perspective, from what we do here on this show, it makes great copy. It's easy to talk about. It gets people involved, gets people excited, it gets people passionate, right? Because you've heard you've heard the term opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. Well,
And
everybody
they
has
all
an
stink.
opinion. Everyone has an opinion about Dream Team versus insert whatever year of NB of Team USA. It's
Mhm.
always the Dream Team. I mentioned to Cody in production, we were talking about some of the comments that were made by United States gold medalist Noah Lyles regarding the difference between calling a team a world champion, and that would be the NBA nomenclature, versus an actual world championship team that's either won a gold medal at the at Worlds, or that has won a world championship at the world, what's it, FIBA World Cup, or the Olympics. Those are those are true world championship teams. And I found it really interesting. Everybody, hey, what's up, Shane? Everybody has an opinion on it. Cody, we'll give you yours. I'm going to give you mine first. I think of what Noah Lyles' comments, and by the way, congrats to Noah Lyles for the 100-meter. He won the gold medal there. He looked great. Unfortunately, came up a little short today in the 200 meters. Got bronze. Uh, Kung Fu Kenny Bednarik couldn't keep up with Lesith Tobogo of Botswana. That would be the continent of Africa's first gold medal in this event. The previous medals won by someone from an African nation were won by Frankie Fredericks from Namibia back in like 92, 96, in there somewhere. So, and Frankie Fredericks was a great runner, by the way. He's a hell of a runner, but he never won a gold medal. But now Botswana has their first gold medal. So that said, I like what Noah said, and I get it, but at the same time, we're talking apples and oranges. Okay, the NBA champion this year that got the nomenclature world champions was the Boston Celtics. Okay, and that's the entire roster. Okay, they get the nomenclature world champions. Are they the true world champions? Probably not, and I can agree with that. I can agree with that. They weren't in a world championship tournament, but I will say this: most of the players that they played against, okay, either it be from the Eastern Conference or on the Western Conference champions, have international experience, and the game has gone global. It's been the NBA has been global. You could claim that the beginning of the NBA going global was '92. You could claim
Absolutely.
that,
Yeah. Well, and
but
that's
that's
and that's
commercial. That's commercial because in 1988, Arvydas Sabonis was clearly the best amateur basketball player in the world.
Mhm.
Clearly,
but that's why I say I don't think that what he said. I think first off he went about it the wrong way, but I think what he said wouldn't even be validated if USA wins. Because if they look, so and even to reference the Dream Team, when the Dream Team played, they played against 6 other NBA players outside of
total,
the USA
total.
team total. This team's playing against like 64 or something
Yeah,
like that. It's
that's
like
right.
in the 60s,
That's right.
whether it's 64 to 69, somewhere in that range of other NBA players. So that of what he said, world champions in the NBA, no, they should be the NBA champions. That's it. They're not champions of the world. It wasn't a world competition, like you said.
Mhm.
But if USA wins this, it's essentially the best in the world anyway. I mean, all those dudes have won champions. They're world champions if they win this gold medal. In my mind, I mean, that's the logic I just put together. He's saying
I would say this: in 1992, NBC, the channel, the network, had the Olympics for Barcelona, and the dream team essentially fell in NBC's lap. NBC back then had the NBA contract. So any NBA property, whether it be David Robinson, Jordan, Patrick Ewing, was on NBC. And Tony, you remember every Saturday. Da, 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 every Saturday was on. And NBC gets the Olympics. And in 1988, when the United States got the bronze medal in Seoul, that's when USA Basketball partnered with NBC. And then the Olympic rules were changed so that professionals could play. And once that happened, David Stern, the NBA commissioner's dreams came true. What Stern wanted when he took over the league is he wanted a global league. He wanted a team in London. He wanted teams in China. He wanted a team in France. That's what he originally wanted. We're talking almost close to almost 40 years ago. That's originally what Stern wanted. Now here we are in 2024, and Adam Silver and FIBA are now looking to partner potentially and brand pro teams overseas into the NBA so that we can have a true championship in terms of a world championship. Now, if you're FIBA, you've had your world championship property as your province, the world championship and the World Cup for, 60, 80 years.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to partner with the NBA. And if you're the NBA, what do you get to gain? What do you have to gain from that? You get the global recognition and the money, the TV rights. See, Tony always thinking. You always have, got it, Tony. What's that word you like? Vision. You want to have that vision. But then what does FIBA have to give up? FIBA does give up its province over global basketball in terms of rules. Those are FIBA rules that we play by in the Olympics.
No, they still going to keep the rules for the Olympics and the World Championship. I mean, it doesn't.
They would have control over the rules. Once they add the NBA in, then the NBA, the partner with what the rules are going to be. That's when you're going to have them rules committees going like this. Okay, it's going to be interesting. But in any partnership, Tony, you got to give up something to get.
Well,
but I think everybody makes money.
Yeah,
I think FIBA makes a ton of money. What was the NBA TV deal this year? The NBA.
I forget what it is.
It's billions.
Listen, the game is, of course, a global game. You got players from all over playing. And in the World Championship, the name and all that other crap. I mean, technically, when the NFL players win, do y'all realize that all the countries got teams that they have national teams that play tackle football? We know this because of when we work with USA Football. NFL calls themselves world champions because they know they can beat the living crap out of those teams. And the NBA can't really say that because we don't know if they can beat the crap. I will tell you.
Did you see the football world championships though?
Yeah, I saw them, and
we didn't win.
Those are because they playing against high school kids, Dave.
I get it.
Dave. But when I tell you,
so bad.
When I tell you, if we even put our 4 stars up against them, we would kill them. It wouldn't be fair. We're trying to let the rest of the world catch up.
It'd be IMG versus Bishop Sycamore.
Exactly.
I'm not even a football talent guy in terms of looking at talent, but if you let me pick that team and gave me a budget to go look at players, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put a circle around Florida, Georgia, and Texas, and I'm gonna pick my players from there.
You hold yourself a 4-week camp, you'll have a team better than anybody out there.
No problem.
No
problem
at all.
I think I saw one kid on the team, and I looked at the roster, and hey, no disrespect, I saw like 4 kids from Massachusetts playing. I said, hold on.
All I know is I was hyping him. I was hyping him up when he was here at Madonna, but Jeremiah Smith up there in Ohio State, that kid is going to be so dangerous, man. He's killing it right now through camps.
Good for him.
He is a beast.
Hey, side note on the NBA discussion we were just having here on the TD report. The NBA's TV deal, okay, this is a domestic league, 76 billion. 76 billion.
with a B.
Adam Silver, and it was split between 3 networks. I think you guys are aware. TNT will lose their property of the NBA. It will be split between networks like NBC. NBC gets the league back. Amazon gets a piece, and Silver did such a great job. And I know I went to UVA, and I like to diss Dukies, but I got to give Duke a lot of credit. Duke University. Duke University has graduates in some of the best basketball jobs, period. You've got Adam Silver, who is he's the head of the NBA, and the senior executive director of the U.S. men's national team is Grant Hill. You can't beat that. You want to get on the U.S. national team, you got to go through Grant Hill to get on it.
Well, I think Grant Hill did an awful job. Where's the guy that played for Cleveland Cavaliers? It should be him, Jaylen Brown, and at least give me that.
The Derek
boy.
White pick doesn't make sense to me.
The
Derek pick over Jaylen Brown doesn't make sense.
Some of this is patronage. Some of this,
I guess they did it. I don't know.
Some of these picks are, hey, listen, this guy went through the cycle, or he did this for us, did that for us, or sometimes they put people on national teams like they did with Diana Taurasi on Team USA for the women's. They do it because she was on 4 previous Olympic teams that won gold.
I don't give a shit.
That
Like should be Enrique.
That's your
Enrique should have been on that damn team.
Who's
and
that?
Enrique showed them when Enrique hit 35 and 6 and 5 assists. Enrique is the only one who could have been on that women's team. Enrique, if she was on that team, they'd be winning by even more points.
Yeah.
I feel bad for her because it's going to be she's already 31. So this is probably her last Olympics, for where she would have a shot to make the team. I do feel bad for Arike Agumbowale.
It's not a sympathy. Just not a sympathy sport.
Notre Dame. And she's got a national championship on her resume. And one of the most memorable championship, weekends that we've ever seen. She hit the winning shot in the Final Four and the winning shot in the title game. And go back and get on YouTube and take a look at those shots. And you tell me, can the girl play basketball? And I mean that with the utmost respect. Those shots that she took were wicked. And I honestly think the shot that she took to win the championship was tougher than the one she hit in the Final Four.
Yeah.
It's one of those where if it's your kid that's defending that and the guy makes it, you just give your son a hug or your daughter a hug. Hey, you were there. It wasn't bad.
You got your 10 seconds of fame. Yeah.
It wasn't bad defense. Hey, look, she made the shot. You're going to be in the poster.
Hey, I don't like being, Dave, I don't like being a homer, but what I'm telling you right now is if United States win on Saturday for men's, they're not winning in LA.
No, we're going to need home court.
Listen, man, basketball has changed. All the best players are coming not from the United States. And the game is changing. And they need to find out with AAU, they need to find out with something. Because right now, those players are skilled. I was watching that game today. Those boys were skilled from Serbia. I mean, the Germany-France game, that's some high skill level.
Germany is good. Germany is good, man.
Germany's real good. But my thing is, if we take away our top 3, look at what's the farm system coming up. Cody, I don't think we're going to be in trouble when Steph, KD, and LeBron in them leagues.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we got to give him some Bobby Womack. People always hate on LeBron, but when he's gone, if you think you're lonely now, wait until tonight.
We're
gonna miss LeBron.
Guys like Anthony Edwards, who I want to be so much better than what he's looking like he is. He just seems to be forcing a lot. But
I like him.
I'm a big fan.
Like Keith Gatlin told us, the international game is a different game. See, one thing I'm gonna give them credit for. When they called and said Caitlin Clark couldn't be in this game because of the international play. Now I know why when I was watching the games. To international play, you don't get calls. And you see Caitlin Clark getting into with a lot of people when they get physical. And that's on our side when everybody's giving her the calls. If you are a player, Caitlin Clark or anybody who bitch about calls, you're not going to do well on the international stage because, dude, they was raking people out that joint in the girls' game and the men's game, and they don't call nothing.
They're not giving no calls. Nope.
If you don't,
they're letting them play.
If you're not physical and know how to play on, you can't play in the international game. It's a different brand of basketball.
I totally agree, guys. I think the way that the international game is played, FIBA rules, FIBA refs, it's a different game than what we see in the NBA and WNBA. It just is.
That's why the men's coach actually said that they picked Derek White to be on the team over other players.
They should have picked him over Jaylen Brown.
I agree.
I think we wasted some talent in terms of Tyrese Halliburton. I don't think should be on the team. I think Kyrie Irving would have been a better selection to be on the team than Tyrese Halliburton.
Big time.
Before anybody asks me, I'm not dissing Tyrese Halliburton. I just don't think he was right for this particular team. But I will say this. We won't have LeBron next year. I mean, in 2028. We will not have KD, and we will absolutely, positively not have Steph Curry in 2028 in LA. So this leaves 3 spots automatically open on the U.S. men's national team that somebody can step into. And I challenge the rest of the NBA. You want the fame, you want the money, you want the recognition. Practice is open, dog. If you want a spot, come on out here and get it. Tony, you played high school basketball here in Prince George's County, one of the toughest places in the country to play basketball, whether it is public school or private school. The guys that were at DeMatha or St. John's, you played against them jokers. You saw them, they was running over a turkey thicket. These guys from Gonzaga High School, they're right there in the neighborhoods. They either live there or they know this is where the best basketball is. If I want to get better over the summer, I'm going to go down there and hoop with Tony and them, okay? That's what this is. I like to see us as a country in our sports, especially basketball, we have to evolve. After 1988, we had to evolve. Okay. We evolved. We decided, okay, they're basically playing professional basketball overseas, and that's what their Olympic teams are. We're sending collegians. Okay, fine. We're going to send our pros. Now we have exported the game internationally. It's all over the world now. And I want to make sure we say this about the TD report. I'm going to say this on our behalf, but Tony, chime in if you disagree or don't. But I don't disparage any country for having good basketball players because the game is global. I want to see good players.
Yep.
What South Sudan did this year in this Olympics was nothing short of a miracle. Shout out to their executive director, Luol Deng, another Dookie. Sorry, I got to give Duke credit. Another Dookie who has been financing their entire national program out of his own pocket.
That's amazing.
0 indoor basketball facilities in
a country.
South Sudan. South Sudan, for those who don't know, is a relatively young country, a new country that had been torn apart by civil war and then now is being rebuilt. Okay. They barely have schools. They don't have the infrastructure, schools, roads, hospitals. So they certainly don't have time to build basketball facilities with air conditioning. They don't have it. And there's nothing negative against it. Most of their players on their team have collegiate experience, and at least 5 or 6 of them had professional experience. And they gave the United States in the tune-up games before the Olympics, they gave the United States a run for their money where LeBron had to come in and bail the United States out, get a bucket at the end to win, I think, by 1 or 2 points, whatever it was. The U.S. handled South Sudan in the Olympic tournament, rather handily. But South Sudan proved that not only is the game global, you don't even have to spend $1 billion to develop talent. Most of the talent that you were going to see from South Sudan played college ball here in the United States, and then a few were able to play in Europe, and then some were able to play here in the NBA. Shout out to former UVA guard Marial Shayok, who starts for the South Sudan team. He had 25 against the United States, and he can be. I don't even think he's in the NBA right now. I don't think so. So, you know, the game is global. So when we say, hey, this team shouldn't beat Team USA, we aren't disrespecting that. We aren't disrespecting that other team. What we're saying is, why aren't we a little better than that? That's all we're saying. I don't like the idea that, hey, this team shouldn't beat us because they look funny, or they're not tall like us, or not as athletic. You know, I've seen many teams that my son played against when he was a kid that would see a team, a team of baseball players from Prince George's County, Maryland, and say, we're going to smoke these guys. But you put the uniform on and you throw the ball up, it's all ball. So I give respect to every team that we come up against. And I think our guys are professionals. They're professionals. So I think they feel that way too. I don't buy into the idea that we're arrogant or we don't think that they could beat us or whatever. You just have to play really good basketball now if you're going to beat an international team.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's like Keith came on, when Keith Gatlin came on, he described it. It's a different game on the international level. I mean, it makes NBA players that are pretty good, like Anthony Edwards, it make them look average or below average, because you got to get used to the style. Physical, the game is ref differently, and just the skill level of the game, man. Those teams have been playing together for 5-10 years. You can't go 5-10 days of practicing and try to get used to guys who may not be as athletic as you, but skill-wise, I think we're losing in the United States because we have too many chiefs and not enough Indians. We have too many people wanting to go start this and start that and start this instead of getting behind people that know what to do. You don't like what they're telling you, so you won't go start your own. And your own may not be coached as well, may not be disciplined, but USA basketball has a problem. USA basketball is in trouble, folks.
Well, think about
not
it like
the game of basketball, USA basketball.
Think about this also. The one thing that has really hurt international basketball for the United States is not just how the guys play. You have to look at it from the standpoint with the early entry rules the way that they are, okay? These guys are now going pro at 18, 19 years old. Hey, get your paper. I get it. The difference is every year, every 4 years, when they go to pick a national team to play in an Olympics or in a U18 World Championships, those guys that have been in college for 2 and 3 years that have international experience already playing on U18, those guys aren't there anymore. They've already gone pro. So literally what you're doing is you're strip mining your basketball talent. You have your freshmen here, your sophomores and juniors here, and your seniors up here. These are the guys you want. You want your seniors, your juniors. You want those on your national teams if you're going to send collegians. We don't have those guys that have that kind of experience anymore internationally. I don't expect guys to always do that. But while I say that, a guy like Anthony Edwards, when he was in high school, he was on a FIBA under U18 team that won a gold medal. Those guys have a little bit of international experience. You need that in order to play in these big tournaments. So, shout out to Team USA for just getting by Serbia today. It wasn't pretty. Thank goodness, Steph Curry, once again, a guy that's been around the block in the NBA for a long, long time.
He saved their ass.
He saved them today. But and shout out to Nikola Jokic. He's a multi-time NBA MVP and perennial MVP candidate, however you slice it. And clearly, he's one of the best players in the world and has been for a while. So I would say there's really no shame in losing to a Serbia, but with the assemblage of talent, the amount of talent that we have, Steve Kerr, the Team USA coach, needs to continue to do a better job of mixing and matching his lineups to the team that we're playing. He's taking a
Yeah,
little
but
bit of
it's hard when those guys haven't practiced together for a long time. Where they're going to have to do is they're going to have to pick their team a year out, and then they're going to have to hold practices throughout the year, little times to get that, to build that up. You just can't go pick the team 3 weeks before the thing start and then come 10 days and practice. That's not going to work no more. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to work. Can't do it.
I think they pick the team. Well, they pick a certain amount of the team. The entire roster is not set. They pick the rest of that roster, usually about 6 to 8 weeks out, where they add a couple of players. But in general, the core of your team have played World Cup or World Championship together.
Not like last year when they lost the World Cup. Most of those players not even on this team.
Well, those guys were the ones that had been playing together, and the people didn't think they were good enough. They had been playing together, and they weren't good enough. The thing is that guys like LeBron and KD and Steph they felt, well, I know KD and LeBron did, because Steph hasn't played as much international basketball as KD and LeBron have. KD and LeBron are basically KD, LeBron, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, and Carmelo Anthony had basically carried the United States through the 90s, the late 90s into the 2000s in international play. As those guys get old, let's be honest, once they retire, new guys have to step up. And, I would say as much NBA talent as we have, coaching these guys is not easy, because it's even giving Steve Kerr moments where he's got to really, do some serious math here to figure out how he's going to attack a certain situation. Steve Kerr's taken some hits. To a degree, Grant Hill has taken a few shots. I want to give another shout out to, can we call this show the Duke Show? Can I give a shout out to Duke University, local DC area guy, Kenny Blakeney, who's now coaching at Howard University. Hey man, I want to say to Kenny Blakeney, you've got vision. You know what he's doing, Tony. I sent you the article.
Yeah, right? I saw the actual video of what he's trying to do, but Howard, don't get me started on them. Instead of being all in,
for our viewers,
they talking about, well, we got to meet and this and that. He gonna end up at some other Big 12 school, and he's gonna do his vision of bringing in, selling the piece of the thing over to build money.
Mm-hmm. Everyone, what Kenny Blakeney is proposing is kind of what Tony said. He wants to sell a stake, a 1/3 stake in the Howard University program. And he's talking full athletics, talking to private equity people to bring money into the program to build up their facilities, to build up the amenities that go with the facilities. So that would be your weight rooms, your training rooms, to make it so that the school is more attractive to attract more talent. I'll give you an example of this. Tony and I used to run high-level high school showcase games for football. And we went to a local college, and the local college I won't say the name, did not have an ice machine on site in the locker room. They didn't have one. So when our teams showed up, high school teams, they didn't have their own ice because there were no ice machines, and they didn't bring their own ice. So if you are running a football program, high school football program, college program, ice is one of the key things that you have to have. And your associate, your assistant athletic director's job, your assistant football coach's job is to make sure, okay, coach, we're going on the road. Okay, do we have ice? Do we have access to the ice? When you get there, is the other team going to have the ice locked up to where you can't get any more ice? You should have brought your own. So that was something I learned. I didn't know anything about that. Tony does because he plays football. But when you're building a production and you're producing a product, or you are giving a service, which is, I've got student athletes and they have, they have strains, sprains, and they have to have ice. If
Yep.
you don't have ice and you don't have working ice machines, this is something for Howard. I'm not saying Howard has things that don't work, but Howard wants to upgrade their facility so they have these things to where they can say, hey, we want to bring in a top level, we want to play against UVA. We want to have UVA come up here to DC to play Howard in basketball, which brings an ACC opponent into your building. So if you're Howard, you want to have a top facility to where UVA's athletic director, Carla Williams, comes in there and looks around and says, wow, you guys have done a lot with this, with this place. You've renovated,
They
done
can
this.
sign off on it to play the game.
That's the problem, Tony, is the Howard administration wants to look and determine if they want to do this or if they buy into it. I get it. But what Kenny Blakeney is trying to do is and if this happens to Howard, he's trying to keep Howard from becoming one of the have-nots. There are two levels of sports now. There's the haves and there's the have-nots. You see the have-nots, I can't even put on the screen. The have-nots are down here and the haves are up here. And it isn't because of NIL specifically. It isn't because of NIL. It's because of TV deals. That's where this is coming from. It's, if you have a TV deal, if you are a Duke, if you are a UVA, if you are a North Carolina, okay, you are a basketball property that people coast to coast want to see. And if you don't have that, and you don't have the backing financially, where are you going to get the money from? You see what I mean? So a school with a large endowment like a UVA doesn't use that endowment for their sports. They don't. The endowment is for the academics. The endowment is for the new library, the new medical school, the new computer system, that combines everything together on campus. Same thing for Virginia Tech. The endowment money does not do anything at Virginia Tech. But what Virginia Tech would do is, we want to have a technology center up in the DC area. We want to build the biggest and best technology center right near the city, if not in the city, to draw people to it, the best minds, the best scientists, whatever, the computer people. That's what you're trying to do, a hive mindset. So I like what Kenny Blakeney's doing at Howard, and a shout out to him.
Love it.
And I'm going to reach out. I know some of his people. I know some Dukies. I'm going to try to get him on the show. I think what he's done at Howard for their basketball program, and what he's trying to do for the program at large by bringing in this money, is making it so that Howard can attract the best student athletes possible. Howard sits in the middle, am I wrong, of one of the richest recruiting areas for high school football and basketball in the country. Not as big in football because, hey, we're not the SEC. We're not the SEC footprint.
But on their level, it's pretty big because of, if you're talking about 1AA, this is a huge area for 1AA talent.
Mm-hmm. You can go, and we can bring this out even further, Tony. You can go from north of Baltimore suburbs down through DC, down to almost to Richmond. And there are Olympians everywhere. Noah Lyles, Tori Husk from swimming. She's from Arlington. Okay. Who else? Katie Ledecky. That's Bethesda. To show you, it's not just American athletes. The island of Dominica. Okay. It's Dominica. Won their first gold medal this Olympics. Okay. It was a lady. Her name is Thea LaFond. Tony, you'd like this lady, like your lovely wife Liz. She's a school teacher right here in Silver Spring. She grew up here in the DC area. Her family is from the island. It's a small island, 70,000 people. She won a gold medal in the triple jump, first gold medal for her country. Her younger brother goes to the Naval Academy, probably a smart kid. No dummies at Naval Academy. He plays football. Okay. She went to high school at Kennedy High School in Silver Spring, and that's 20 minutes away from where Katie Ledecky went to high school. We've got Olympians all through here from Baltimore down. Don't forget Mike Phelps. Shout out to Baltimore, because if we've got this many Olympians and we just named 4 or 5. Okay, imagine the football, basketball talent here. And if you're Howard, you want to mine that. You want to get your hands on that talent. And I like what Kenny's doing to try to get it. Can't argue
Yeah.
with that.
Can't argue with that, brother.
Let's talk about those women's in the Olympics. Let's talk about the women's 400-meter hurdles. Shout out to Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. She might be the greatest women's 400-meter hurdler of all time. She broke her world record. She broke that. Won the gold medal. She has won the world championship. She's got the gold medal, and she owns the world record. 50.65, I think, is the record now. So I guess the question is this: is she going to be the first woman under 50 seconds in that race? Because she is literally 0.66 seconds away from being under 50 seconds on the 400 hurdles.
So, in other words, she can run that faster than what you can run around the track. She can run and jump.
There's no way. She ran in the prelims, Tony. She ran a 52.13 in the prelims. Okay. And there was nobody within 3 or 4 yards of her. The understanding that she has of what she needs to do to run the race, she's not running against Tony. She's not running against people. She's not running against people in the lanes. She's running against herself, because when we talk about how far apart these hurdles are, she, as a woman, 13 steps between hurdles.
So she's Edwin Moses.
She might be better. She might be better. 13 steps between hurdles is what some men do. Okay. Her stride is absolutely incredible. She never hits a hurdle. She always goes over on the correct leg. She never has to chop her steps. She has literally fought her way through that race. And, the thing about the 400, now I ran track, but I'm not big enough to run the 400-meter hurdles, okay? They won't put somebody my size on that. To be a 400-meter hurdle runner as a man, you've got to be at least 6'1" or 6'2".
Yep.
And if not taller, okay? Little guys like me have to generate so much speed to get over those hurdles. By the time we get to the 300 mark, we can't turn over anymore. We're spent. It's one of the toughest races to win or to run well, because there are 3 different energy sources that you use to run that race. The only problem is there's 4 phases of the race. So literally, when you get to that 300 level, 300 meters, it's what you have left. We do have to give a shout out to the USA track and field team, Tony. They're performing incredible. Superior. Did we win the 200 meter? Did we win the 200 meters today? Did we get the gold medal? No. Came in silver and bronze. I'm fine with that. What we did in the 100 meters, what we have done in the steeplechase, we got a medal in the steeplechase, which never happens. We got a medal in the 10,000. We got a championship in the men's 1,500 meters, and probably the most exciting race in the Olympics, next to, because that was on Wednesday night.
Yeah,
that was on Tuesday night.
What was his name? Grant King. What was his name? Grant, that won the 1,500.
I think it was Grant Hocker. His last name is Hocker. Literally, I'd have to write you a book on how incredible that race was. Just super.
He left from the inside and he took it.
That was absolutely amazing. And then the 400 meters last night, Heartstopper. The United States in track and field.
Oh my God, that guy came. Oh, he looked like he was out of it. Didn't have anything left
on the final turn. He looked done.
He mustered up every bit of energy to win that. Man, he earned that gold.
It was, Quincy. Shout out to that young man. I can't even tell you how crazy that was. I've never seen anything like that in a 400 meters. Guys, go and look at this on YouTube. Go get on your apps and take a look at this. It's one of the most incredible things you'll ever see in a track meet. Is you've never seen a guy in an open 400 pass 3 people in the last 70 meters. It was incredible. What I've seen here in the Olympics also, if Cody, can you put up the medal count, please? Uh, People's Republic of China. They're not
I
going
think we're
away.
up to
They're
100
not
and
going away.
something.
We're only up 1 gold on them. China.
Yeah, but we up 30 something medals on all.
We've got so many bronze. We've got so many bronze and silvers. But in terms of golds, I got to give China credit.
We win in
They're
gold,
right here with us.
silver, and bronze. We're still
Yes.
in the lead.
Yes, but them gold medals though.
Yep, but we got 2 more coming probably for basketball.
Maybe the men have to do. What
We
they
lost
gotta,
the water polo for women.
women's.
Yeah, the women lost.
The women lost. Okay.
In
What did you get?
a
A silver?
shootout.
What did the women?
They're
do?
gonna be in the bronze medal game.
They're the consolation game. Okay. It's
Bronze medal game. Ain't no consolation.
Tony, there was a time when we were coming up where we would never win anything in water polo. We would just get beat down. So we're doing a little better. I can't complain about the Olympic team, man. We focus on the basketball and the track and field and the swimming, but Katie Ledecky isn't going to swim forever. I don't know if we're going to get another one to come up in her place. Now, remember, before Katie Ledecky, we had Janet Evans, who unfortunately nobody talks about anymore. Janet Evans used to dominate those distance swimming races, 800 and 1500. There was a time when women didn't even swim the 1500. It was thought to be too much for a woman to swim at a high level. Swimmers like Janet Evans, they changed that and basically begat someone like Katie Ledecky. Katie Ledecky is one of the great Olympians of all time. She has won the 1500 in the Olympics 4 times.
Yep.
4 different Olympics. And there's a select few Olympians total that have won their one event 4 times. Carl Lewis is one of them. Cuba just had a wrestler. He's won 4 Olympics in wrestling, which you to win wrestling 4 times in a weight class or your event heavyweight. That's a combat sport. That's people literally trying to do something to you. And if you can go through a tournament 4 times and win gold, hey man, my hat is off to you. He retired, by the way.
Hey, Dave, I would like to say that this is probably one of the most dominant performances I've seen by the United States in the Olympics.
You think so?
Altogether, yes.
I think we look great. I mean, honestly, if you look at men's swimming, we'll have to get Liz on here so she can talk swimming with us. But we did what we're doing in the Olympics. We did that without the men's side of the swim team really doing anything in individual medals. I think we only got 2 medals from the men's side. The women were doing all that work in the swimming pool. The women on the individual events, they were bringing in the medals. So, I think we're doing pretty good. Now, you can't rest on your laurels. You always want to continue to get better. Yep. But, as we develop or continue to develop our Olympic programs, whatever sport, the federations of each individual sport, the governing bodies have to look at ways to innovate, bring more kids, get more kids into your individual sports. And I think that's the most important part. I don't think the United States does enough outreach in places where they don't think there's talent. Okay. I think there's kids in the United States that could be great fencers. I think we've got kids here. I think we've got more swimming talent than we're using, then we can find more kids, get more kids learning how to swim. And, there might be a Michael Phelps out there somewhere. What if there's a Michael Phelps sitting in somewhere that's traditionally thought of as a basketball area?
We got to find them.
That's the one thing I'll say about this. Look at a country like Brazil. Brazil is not known as a gymnastics powerhouse. They're not known like the United States or Romania or Russia, right? For where you find Olympic caliber gymnasts. Guess what? The United States wasn't like that in the 1970s. We didn't have great gymnasts like we have now. That was 50 years ago. But if you look at a country like Brazil, shout out to Brazil's Rebecca Andrade, who is the most decorated Olympian in Brazilian history in any sport. Okay. She won a gold medal. I think was it in vault?
Yep.
Floor exercise. She won a gold medal in floor exercise over Simone Biles. And Rebecca Andrade has gone through 3 ACL surgeries in the last 4 years. Okay. In the old days, if you blew your knee out in gymnastics, you were done.
You were done.
You were done. She's had 3 of those in a year. And you've got to give credit to the Brazilian Federation and their gymnastics program for how they developed that talent. And they are starting now to develop their program of bringing up these young ladies in that sport to get to the point where they can compete on the world stage. Would it surprise me if 4 years from now, a Brazilian gal was one of the best gymnasts in the world? No, not after this performance. So you got to give them credit. Hey, we got to give credit to the U.S. men's gymnastics team for getting a bronze. I think that was our first medal as a team in 16 years or something like that. So shout out to those guys.
Shout out to all the Olympians from the DMV.
Yep.
Shout out. Hey, we got preseason on tonight, and we'll be
Who's
back
on
to you
tonight?
guys.
Who's on tonight?
Carolina is playing New England right now on NFL Network. 7-0 New England.
So why don't we get people up to date, up to speed on what we have coming this season for what we're going to be doing before we sign off. Guys, we took a hiatus. We take a hiatus every summer. Let everybody, get your kids in camp, enjoy yourself, get out and do some grilling. But we're going to be back in earnest starting next week, or do we want to go the week after? Next week?
Probably next week. And
Okay.
just update people, kind of
Okay.
update you and get you through camp.
We're getting the band back together. We're going to be talking pretty much preseason. We're going to wrap up the Olympics. We're going to talk preseason football in the the NFL, and then we're also going to talk a little college football.
We'll see you Monday night.
Appreciate y'all. Great show, Tony.
All right.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thanks, Cody.